You said something like you were a long-term addiction or something.
Yes.
How did you put that?
How did I get through
You
it?
say you're long-term recovery,
Yeah, I'm a recovering alcoholic
and what
and
does
drug
that
addict.
mean? What does that mean exactly? Are you recovering alcoholic?
It means that I put down drugs and alcohol a long time ago, and I'm totally sober, and I practice a program of recovery that includes, personally, I go to 12-step. So I am, part of 12-step groups. And, there are different ways to talk about it and different ways to say it. Most people don't like us to say I'm recovered because you don't really recover
Why
from
not?
alcoholism.
Why don't you
Why?
really recover and be done with it?
Because I think if I wasn't actively treating it by going to meetings, I would be tempted to drink again.
So let's say that we're at a wedding and
Yes.
we ran out of wine, and someone asked me, Jesse, make some more wine. So I turned the water into wine. You wouldn't drink any?
No. No.
Why not?
All
Jesus
right,
made the wine.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to ask you the question. I'm going to ask Jesse the question. So the difference between people who have an addiction and the people who are drinking in a healthy way is that people who are drinking in a healthy way have a stop button. And there's a place in their head where they say, I've had enough, and they don't drink anymore. But people who have an addiction problem, whether it's drugs or alcohol or shopping or gambling or whatever it is, digital addiction, they have no stop button. They can't stop. So if you wanted to, if God,
If I drank that wine, I might end up in Mexico using narcotics by the end of the night.
by the end of
Wow.
yeah,
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
yes,
And do you believe that God can heal us completely?
I think there's, faith without works is dead. I think you have to have the faith, but you also have to do the work. So I know that my personality is challenged. And if enough things happen that put pressure on me, I'm capable of making bad decisions.
I like
But
the fact that you and your mother write about this because it definitely brings the attention to the issue. What started you in drinking and drugs? How did you get started and why?
I got started in my teen years as a result of dealing with a bunch of deaths. My grandfather died, and then I lost two friends consecutively. So there was this, I would say, a significant amount of trauma. We came from a big drinking culture. It was New York City in the
Oh,
80s and the 90s. There was a lot of alcohol, there was a lot of drugs. It was the culture. A lot of people were doing it. And I think um, I got it. I certainly, I don't want to say I got involved with the bad crowd. I was the bad crowd.
yeah.
So I found people that were like me who wanted to get into trouble. And it was at the time, it was a relief because I was so sad. I was a sad kid. So I was turning to something to make me at the beginning feel better.
I understand. And Leslie, how did you find out that your daughter was drinking and doing drugs? And were you surprised?
my daughter was not doing well. So I kept thinking she's sick. She's got a food disorder. She's taking her to the doctor to try and figure out what was wrong. I knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know that she was going out and going to clubs all night long, because she'd say to me, I'm going over to so and so's house and we're going to watch movies. This is what girls do today. I mean, it's not and so she would go to a friend's house and where there were no parents, and they would go out drinking and clubbing. And so Lindsey,
You suspected, but you didn't know.
well, I wasn't, there are many different kinds of mothers, and we can talk about what kind of mothering we all had. My mother pretty much left me to my own devices because she knew I wasn't going to do anything bad. And I lived in a place where I couldn't get to clubs anyway. So, So
So were you disappointed when you found out? How did you react when you found out what she was doing?
when she finally told me, and it's in our book, you know, when she finally told me and came clean and said, I need help, I was relieved because when I knew what was wrong, I knew that we could get the tools to help her.
Amazing.
So basically, parents need to know, they need to know, and kids need to be not afraid to tell their parents what's happening.
And so, Lindsey, how did your father react to it when he found out?
The same. They were both so relieved that there was finally an answer to what was going on with me. So they were really great. And part of the reason I mentor people in teens and people in programs is we get into this place where we don't want to tell the truth because we think people are going to be mad at us.
Yeah.
But the people who love us, generally, they might be disappointed for a moment or two, but they're going to get right on board and figure out how to help you get better.
That's right.